Hey everyone, I am the creator and your host of Tiger Talk Podcast, where we talk about everything LSU that can only come from a true fan's perspective. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the momentum going into 2025. Garrett Nussmeier. We're going to be talking about staff changes. We're also going to be talking about LSU baseball. We're going to be talking about LSU basketball on the international stage and what's happening local back home in the boot regarding roster changes. And we also have some other LSU news that you may not be aware about. So I'm excited for today's episode. Let's get to it. Alrighty, everyone. Welcome to Tiger Talk Podcast. Again, I am your host, Alex, and I'm excited to get in today's episode. You can follow this podcast wherever podcasts are found, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and also on my X, or my Twitter, as I still call it, AlexGirl95. Anyway, in today's episode, one thing I want to get started with, and I have to also shout out my other two co-hosts, Aria and Dallas. Aria and Dallas, they are my two cats, and they are both very vocal. So if you hear them meowing in the background, they are just chiming in also, and they're saying, "Go Tigers." So anyway, with that being said, please excuse my cats in the background. They're a mess, and they're just extremely vocal. Anyway, I want to start with building momentum for 2025. So the anticipation for the 2025 football season is truly getting at an all-time high, with several key developments shaping the team's outlook. I want to kind of highlight Garrett Nussmeier, his return, and that leadership. What does that mean in the leadership role? And as everyone has heard by now, this past holiday weekend, Garrett Nussmeier has gotten engaged to his longtime girlfriend. And I've seen a lot of section of LSU fans that have really just been a damper on his news of his engagement. You had a section of LSU fans that said, he should be focused more on football. And I think at the end of the day, we take these players and just see them through the lens of players 24/7. And that's not true. These guys are human first. And this is nothing but a positive and a life-changing positive for Garrett and his future. And I think anything positive on a player's, that is going on a player's life, especially your starting QB, your returning QB, I think that can only be beneficial for the vibes and etc. Him moving forward. So huge shout out to quarterback Garrett Nussmeier on getting engaged this past weekend. And also shout out to the future Mrs. Nussmeier, the future Mrs. Nussbus. So I'm excited for him and his family. Nothing but congratulatory, happy vibes being sent his way. I want to go back to Garrett as he announced his return for a fifth and final season. He's coming off a strong 2024 campaign where he eclipsed 4,000 passing yards and 29 touchdowns. His leadership is highlighted by his selection as one of three players alongside wide receiver Chris Hilton Jr. and linebacker Whit Weeks to represent LSU at SEC Media Days on July 14th, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. This signifies the program's confidence in his ability to lead the team to the playoffs, and I know their end goal is to a national championship. I quote Brian Kelly, the end of last year, he said, "I'll see y'all in the title game." Especially after LSU, under Garrett Nussmeier, missing the expanded 12-team football playoff in 2024. There's a lot of hype around Arch Manning. And no disrespect to Arch Manning and the Mannings in general. They are football royalty. But Arch Manning has not played a full season of hard-nosed SEC football. The couple of times Arch Manning has come in, of course he dominated at home against teams like ULM. Of course you're going to dominate, okay? But when he came in a couple of drives against Georgia, he looked a little lost. And there's no doubt in my mind that Arch is going to be drafted in the NFL draft. There's no doubt in my mind that Arch Manning is a very talented quarterback. He is intellectually and physically. But Garrett Nussmeier has played the whole season. And he has that experience that only can come by experience. And so I think that is really what sets Garrett apart with this other heavy QB room across college football. You look at quarterback Lenore Sellers for South Carolina. You look at DJ Lagway for Florida. And you look at Diego Pavia for Vandy. And the list goes on. So I think Garrett's experience in the wins and the losses is going to be very beneficial. And like Garrett said, he has chopped up film regarding all his mistakes, and he knows he can't make them this year. And if he has truly studied that and really locked in, I think he can elevate this offense to one of the best offenses in college football. Also with Garrett's returning, I do believe it's his leadership. For whether you got transfer portal guys, incoming freshmen, or guys going on also their senior season, or maybe even junior season, they've seen Garrett's consistency. And I truly believe consistency is key. So I'm excited to see how his leadership role really expands, and I'm excited to see how it's highlighted in these SEC Media Days. This was breaking news yesterday. As of this recording, key staffing additions in recruiting. LSU made a significant hire by bringing in Kevin Bolden from Ole Miss as their assistant general manager for football. Bolden was the coordinator of recruiting strategies for Lane Kiffin's staff and is highly regarded for his ability to build relationships with recruits. I see this move as strategic for LSU, particularly in the ever-important recruiting landscape, adding the transfer portal management, especially with some recent shakeups in LSU's personnel development. I think if you're an Ole Miss fan and you're seeing a key guy in Kevin Bolden leaving your program, if I'm not mistaken, he's a Mississippi man. He was born and raised in Mississippi. Leaving that program to go to LSU, I really think that is strategic by LSU. And I do believe in the years past, regarding recruiting, regarding NIL, LSU was playing kind of from a behind. And now they're trying to be the spear and push things forward. And all I can say is whatever helps with recruits and having that relationship and everything that goes inside the recruiting process, including NIL and etc. I think anyone that has the resume like Kevin Bolden has to benefit that whole process for LSU. At the end of the day, if we can get guys not only committed, but stay committed and play, that is nothing but a huge success for LSU as a whole. So I'm excited to see how Mr. Kevin Bolden's role, how he accepts it, and how he tailors it for his own. Recruiting success. The Tigers are actively building their 2026 recruiting class, already boasting 12 commitments, with half of them being top 100 prospects. The most recent commitment of five-star edge rusher Trenton Henderson He picked LSU over Florida and Texas. Guys, that is a significant win. I take that a win as a win. I'm just going to kind of briefly go over this because I am not the smartest when it comes to math. I jokingly but also seriously say I got that Louisiana Core 4 education, and all my fellow Louisiana people, if you got that Louisiana Core 4 education, you know what I mean. So I'm just going to kind of briefly give this new revenue sharing era. I'm pretty sure there is more podcasts and more videos on YouTube if you want to have a more in-depth explanation of it. But as of July 1st, marked a historic shift in college athletics with the official beginning of direct payments to athletes. LSU plans to pay its athletes the NCAA maximum of $20.5 million this upcoming school year. The breakdown sees 75%, which is $13.5 million, allocated to football, 15% to men's basketball, that's $2.7 million, 5% to women's basketball, and another 5% to all other sports. While LSU generally operates at a profit, this new structure is projected to create a $8 million deficit initially, which the school is aggressively working to mitigate through new revenue streams like on-field sponsors, logos, and renegotiation Nike contracts. So that's a mouthful. So this is kind of my, no pun intended, 2 cents on this. Number one, I don't know the specific numbers on how it is being distributed for LSU football, LSU men's basketball, LSU women's basketball, LSU baseball, and other sports. But I do know this. There has been heavy words that with this new rev share, LSU men's basketball is getting more than LSU men's baseball. And I know that there's a lot of LSU fans that grew up with LSU men's basketball, being very prominent, but we're no longer in that era anymore, and I say that respectfully. So I look at it like this. You have Kim Mulkey, who is, I am just hypothetical here. Hopefully we get her within the next 5 to 8 years. But I think she is also coming to the end of her season. But she has brought us to a national champion for LSU women's basketball and won a national championship. The first national championship for LSU women's basketball, completely turned that program around. And she is hungry for another title. LSU women's basketball needs to get a respective amount, okay? LSU men's baseball. Guys, we just came off a national championship. Since before I was born, okay? Since the 80s. I was born in the 90s. So literally ever since I was born, LSU men's baseball has been winning national championships, okay? LSU is the powerhouse for a reason when it comes to baseball. And you have a head coach, as in Jay Johnson, who is a great baseball mind. He lives, breathes, eats baseball. And I heard from LSU media that Jay Johnson and his wife do not have any children. I do not know if that's true or not, but I would find that hard to be misquoted. So if he doesn't have any children, which I was shocked to hear, he's truly giving his whole life to baseball. Even his resume before he came to LSU, he brought Arizona to the College World Series. And this man has brought not one, but 2 national championships to LSU, the most recent one being number 8 total. There is no reason, I've said this in a previous podcast, so go listen. There is no reason why Coach Jay Johnson and his staff should not be sitting in any living room in America, or let alone abroad, because you had Irondale from Arkansas. He's originally from Australia. There is no reason why Jay Johnson should be having less resources. We should be giving this man all the resources he needs above and beyond. And I think when it comes to rev sharing, he should. He has the right. He will never say it, but he should, and he has the right to have more than LSU men's basketball. Because right now, respectfully, LSU men's basketball played like dirt water these past couple of years, okay? And listen, to all those sector of LSU fans that say, well, what about Will Wade and etc. Okay, that time was good and that time was short, but we can't live in the could've, would've, and should've beens, okay? He is gone from the state of Louisiana. He's tipped his hat to the state. He did what he did. He's now being on a dominant run for NC State, and I'm excited to see what he does and build a dynasty there. But as of right now, he's not coming back. And under Coach Matt McMahon, Matt really needs to prove, okay, what can he do? LSU men's basketball has not proven anything. And for LSU men's basketball to get a more amount than 2-time national championship and Coach of the Year, Jay Johnson, is absolutely asinine to me. It makes no sense whatsoever. There is absolutely no reason, respectfully, for Scott Woodward and etc., not to give this rev sharing more to LSU baseball. I mean, Jay Johnson's won 2 national championships, and he's getting recruits left and right, and he's hungry to go for another national championship. We could be in a Saban-esque era of LSU baseball under Jay Johnson, and I don't want the quote-unquote politics of it all, the rev sharing of it all, to blind those in charge of this rev sharing for LSU to be blinded and take Jay Johnson for granted. You can be in that honeymoon phase with your girl, everything's great, everything's good, and then after a while you just kind of get used to it. No, what we're seeing with Jay Johnson is not casual. It's not normal. This is true greatness, and I don't want the politics of it all, or whatever you want to call it, to blind Scott Woodward or to blind those that are in charge of rev sharing and give Jay Johnson the short end of the stick. There is no reason why other programs like Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, East Carolina University, North Carolina State, you name it, whatever program, whether it's in the SEC or not, Oklahoma, Arizona, there is no reason any other baseball club in this country should be getting more money than Coach Jay Johnson. So those are my 2 cents regarding rev sharing. But it's a new era. But I digress. Guys, let's talk about SEC Media Days. So SEC Media Day starts Monday, July 14th. Excuse me while I get a quick sip here. SEC Media Days start Monday, July 14th. Right off the bat, it's head coach Brian Kelly. But it's also recently been announced the SEC Media Day attendance for LSU is going to be Garrett Nussmeier, wide receiver Chris Hilton Jr., and linebacker Whit Weeks will join Coach Brian Kelly at SEC Media Days. Hilton is entering his 5th season, and he looks to build on a strong finish to 2024, while Weeks, a third-year starter was a first-team All-SEC selection last year and a preseason All-American heading into 2025. Guys, I think these options are absolutely great. All 3 gentlemen represent LSU and the competitiveness of LSU to its finest, period. And with that being said, you look at Garrett Nussmeier, you look at Garrett Nussmeier, you look at Chris Hilton Jr., you look at Whit Weeks. These guys experience adversity in the Baylor game. Whit Weeks had that injury, but he's able to come back and rebuild from that. Chris Hilton Jr., has come back from adversity. Same with Garrett Nussmeier, and these guys truly in the long haul for LSU football, believing in Brian Kelly, believing in the vision, and believing that their sights are set to not only go to the playoffs this year, but a national championship. And I think each gentleman here brings their own respectful representation of what LSU means to them and how they represent LSU to the highest form. And all three of these guys, they bleed purple and gold, and I love to see it, and I'm interested to see their thoughts, hear interviews, and we'll definitely be doing a breakdown from that. Guys, let's switch over to off-season training and anticipation. Players like defensive lineman Dominic McKinley are showing impressive body transformations in the offseason, and a huge shout-out to your strength and conditioning and the nutrition coaches and all of that that goes into the LSU football program to bring those transformations not only to Dominic McKinley but to other guys, whether you're trying to gain weight or lose weight or gain muscle or whatever it may be. So, signaling readiness for the upcoming fall camp, the Tigers will report to camp later this month to prepare for the season opener against Clemson on August 30th. It's definitely expected to be a top 10 matchup for sure. So, swinging things over to baseball. So, LSU baseball, listen, I am still riding a high after running their second College World Series title in three seasons, 2023 and 2025. The post-championship period has been filled with accolades, so let's get into some of that. Coach Jay Johnson, National Coach of the Year. Head coach Jay Johnson has been named the 2025 National Coach of the Year by D1 Baseball, adding to his American Baseball Coaches Association Award. This recognition underscores his success in building a championship program in the new era of college baseball. And I think it's so key that you highlight the new era of college baseball because it's a new era of college baseball. You got NIL deals, you got transfer portals, and etc. And to see Jay Johnson come in and just truly not conform, not immediately just transforming the program, but conforming and just truly embracing LSU, embracing just the culture of LSU, embracing those that came before him. His relationship with Skip Bertman, there is not in any sentence where he is not giving that man respect, Skip Bertman. So his just humbleness, I feel like Jay Johnson is a very humble person. That being National Coach of the Year, that is a no-brainer. How he truly lives his life. And he bleeds for baseball. He bleeds purple and gold. He loves being a great ambassador for LSU. He loves baseball. He lives it. He breathes it. He has a baseball genius mind, a Saban-esque of baseball in all honesty. And I just go back a little bit to that rub sharing rant. I want LSU to fully support Jay Johnson above and beyond, because what he has done is just, we're witnessing greatness, truly are. Let's go to Cade Anderson, dominating pitcher, and I think the number one MLB draft prospect. He's left-handed pitcher. Cade Anderson was named the 2025 Corbett Award winner as Louisiana's top male athlete. He was a dominant force in the College World Series, earning most outstanding player honors. Anderson is projected to be a top pick, possibly even the number one overall pick in the upcoming 2025 MLB draft, which starts on July 13th, with the Washington Nationals as potential landing spot. He led the nation with 180 strikeouts and finished with a 12-1 record and a 3.18 ERA. Derek Curiel, National Freshman of the Year. Outfielder Derek Curiel earned D1 Baseball's National Freshman of the Year award. I think he should have also been named the National Freshman of the Year award under other entities, but I digress. A testament to his phenomenal debut season where he hit a team high of .345 with 20 doubles and 7 home runs. Both Curiel and right-handed pitcher Kason Evans were named to D1's baseball's freshman All-American team. I mean, Derek Curiel, I said in a previous podcast, that man is so calm, cool, and collective. And to think that he's only a freshman, he is going to have a very long and happy MLB career. And I can't wait to see him in the major leagues, but I also don't want to see him leave LSU. I just want LSU to squeeze out all the potential out of him and for him to continue to grow and etc. But man, Derek Curiel, just calm, cool, and collective. I'm super excited to see what he does in his year 2 in Baton Rouge. Let's switch to the academic All-Americans. Kate Anderson and Stephen Milam received academic All-America honors, showcasing the program's commitment to both athletic and academic excellence. I think that's always awesome to see these young men, and in the women's side of things, young women not just dominate in their field of sports, but also dominate intellectually also. MLB All-Star and future game selections. Former LSU stars Paul Skeens and Alex Bregman have been named to the MLB All-Star game rosters. Additionally, current Tigers Tommy White and Gage Jump were selected for the MLB All-Star futures rosters, indicating the strong pipeline of talent from LSU to professional baseball. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here, and I'm not going to dig too much into it. So let me get a little sip of water before I get into this rant. Pittsburgh Pirates, you have been selected to be exposed. Pittsburgh Pirates, my heart, as a diehard just baseball fan, I love college baseball, I love Major League Baseball. As a diehard baseball fan, to see how the debacle of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization to be wasting Paul Skeens' talent is absolutely asinine to me. Make it make sense. Someone please shoot me a DM on Twitter. Someone please just let me know. Make it make sense. Please. Because at the end of the day, whatever the Pittsburgh Pirates have going on, they didn't think it through. I don't know what. They didn't wake up and eat their Wheaties. I don't know. But it's an absolute debacle. This man, a generational talent, and the history of Major League Baseball is a very long one. But this man, Paul Skeens, a truly generational, I would say a once-in-a-lifetime talent, is just his prime days are being wasted in Pittsburgh. And I would have to say to the front office of the Pirates, what are you doing? It's horrible to watch. It's horrible to see him losing. He doesn't deserve that. And I know his contract's in the middle of arbitration. I mean, I would do whatever. I mean, get this man to an elite club that will win. And again, I understand you don't always like to see the Yankees win or the Red Sox win or the Astros win or the Dodgers win. But at the end of the day, at least those clubs are doing something. And believe me, everyone would love to see a different club, get a true strong foundation built and a dynasty run going. But Pittsburgh Pirates, man, y'all are just absolutely utter debacle. That's all I can say. It's truly sickening. Hope Paul Skeens can get to either the Yankees. I don't want to see him go to the Dodgers, but just get that man out of Pittsburgh. I don't know if we can start a GoFundMe. I don't know if there's enough Louisiana fish fries in Louisiana. I don't know if there's enough jambalaya cook-offs I don't know, guys. We got to come up with something. Get this man out of Pittsburgh because it's just horrible. And I want Paul Skeens to play to the fullness of his ability, and fans and lovers of baseball truly deserve that also. All right, guys, kind of winding it down. Let's go to basketball. International success and off-season rosters. While the main season is still months away, LSU basketball has seen some notably great activity. Flau'jae Johnson, the America Cup gold LSU women's basketball player Flau'jae Johnson earned a gold medal with USA basketball at the FIBA Women's America Cup in Santiago, Chile. She was a key contributor, especially with a 22-point performance in the quarterfinals. So I'm super excited, and accolades to her. Angel Ruiz, WNBA All-Star nod. Forward for the Chicago Sky, has been named to her second consecutive WNBA All-Star team. She continues to averaging double-doubles and leading the league in rebounds. Let's go to men's basketball. The men's team has been active in the transfer portal, adding players like Israel's guard Ron Zipper, Memphis guard PJ Carter, and UC Davis transfer Pablo Tamba from the 2025-2026 season. They've also announced home and away opponents for the SEC men's basketball season and will participate in the Emerald Coast Classic in November. Listen, when it comes to Coach Matt McMahon and LSU men's basketball, I have to see it to believe it, okay? Their greatness. Former players in the NBA Summer League. Former LSU men's basketball player Will Baker has signed with the New Orleans Pelicans Summer League team, seeking his chance at going pro. So I always love seeing that. So kind of in other sports and general athletic news, volleyball preseason honors. LSU's Journey Robinson, hopefully I said that right, Miss Robinson, and Nia Washington were named to the 2025 preseason All-SEC team for volleyball, with the Tigers picked to finish 8th in the conference. So that's pretty exciting for the Lady Tigers there. Let's talk about Miss Kate Guillory. Thankfully, she is alive, but man, such a tragic accident. LSU gymnast and beach volleyball assistant strength and conditioning coach suffered a severe injury in a jet ski accident on the 4th of July, resulting in the amputation of her lower left leg. Of course, the LSU community is rallying support, and I personally send thoughts and prayers to Ms. Katie Guillory with that skiing incident that resulted in the amputation of her lower left leg. Of course, could have been much worse, and she could have passed, but thankfully, through the quick response of first responders, it seems, they were able to save her life, but they just, that amputation of her lower left leg, that's definitely going to be a rehab process, not just physically but mentally. So thoughts, prayers out to her. So I think it's already passed, but the SEC Network has their takeover series. So LSU's annual SEC Network takeover will begin with football content and concludes with coverage of the College World Series, highlighting the broad athletic success of the university. I love seeing that, and just by myself in general, I'm always binge watching. I'm still on that LSU baseball championship high, so I've been watching LSU baseball. I've been watching throwbacks of LSU football 2003. I've been watching some Matt Flynn highlights. I've been watching some Matt Mock highlights. I mean, your girl is just always thinking and watching LSU sports 24/7. So, concluding with that, overall, LSU sports are entering the latter half of 2025 with significant accomplishments in baseball, strong momentum for the upcoming football season, and continued individual success in basketball. The new rev sharing model also marks a pivotal moment for the athletic department as it navigates the evolving landscape of college athletics. So with that being said, I really think, things are really just, heating up, so to sense. August is going to be here before you know it. I love August. Your girl's birthday is August 17th, and that's such a sweet spot because we would be covering the end of SEC Media Days, and within, August 17th, we will not be covering the end of SEC Media Days. We will be coming to the end of that sweet spot, and LSU football kickoff will be just a couple of weeks away from then. So I'm excited. Again, guys, thank you so much for listening. You can follow, and I encourage you to follow this podcast wherever you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, you name it. Wherever you can get podcasts, you can find Tiger Talk. I created this podcast because I just have a passion for LSU sports. I am an LSU fan, and I just ask that you bear with me with these beginning stages of podcasting. Not everything's perfect. I am right now my own producer. I am my own writer. I am everything right now. And I take a lot of joy in that because something has to begin somewhere. You can follow me on social media. I have an X account. I still call it Twitter, but my Twitter is AlexGirl95. All social media links will be in the description. I have a podcast website page. You can also follow that. That will also be in the description, guys. So, again, I am really excited to just get this chapter of the next phase of LSU athletics and to see where LSU is headed and what LSU is doing behind the scenes in baseball and basketball, and seeing LSU athletes excel not just on their respective field, but also in the classroom. And I love to see it. All right, guys, until next time, I'm Alex with Tiger Talk Podcast, and we will see you next episode.